welcome to Life Uncovered. My name is Steve, and today we're going to be doing a video about insurance and an insurance broker, my friend Jeff here, and we welcome him aboard today. And if you guys are liking the videos, please give me a like and a subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. Our mission is to try to help people figure out what they're doing with their life. So here we go. Welcome to the show, Mr. Jeff.
Thanks for having me, Steve.
No problem, anytime. I appreciate you coming by. I believe that you're a very successful insurance broker. Is that correct?
Yes, I am.
Okay. So what do you, well, actually, you've been doing this for about 10 years, yes?
A little over 10 years.
And before that, what did you do and what made you switch from that job to selling insurance?
Great question. So I actually started off in corporate America. I was working for a large company that sold to the automotive industry and had some success there. But what I realized, Steve, is that I was really working for somebody else.
Sure.
And that the more hours I worked, I did make more money, but the more that they controlled my time.
Of course.
So
yeah.
I wanted to get into business for myself so that I can have a little bit more control of time and money. Mm-hmm. Right?
So you didn't like all the hours that you were putting in.
Exactly.
You wanted something a little, so you had more time with the family and things of that
That's
nature.
exactly right. Just had met a woman that soon became my wife, and we were talking about having a family, and it's very challenging to have a personal life when you're working 70 to 80 hours a week. So.
Oh, absolutely. I definitely, when you work a lot of hours, it takes a toll on your life and your family, and it sounds like it was a good decision for you.
Absolutely. Really no regrets. Actually, the only regret I do have is I wish I would have done it earlier, right?
I saw that coming.
It took me about 13 years in corporate America to kind of figure out that it wasn't for me. But I did meet a lot of great people, and I guess grew up during that process.
Sure.
So
Formed some good relationships.
Did a lot of personal development. So yeah. But I'm certainly glad to split off and be my own person now, or maybe be my own boss now. So
sure, absolutely, and there's nothing wrong with that. I in previous videos I had said I own a couple of businesses myself, and it's nice to do something yourself and really, hey, this is my thing to do.
Exactly. Yep. You're working for what I say, working for my name on my jersey, my family name. And there's no disrespect for corporate America. I know a ton of people still in corporate America that
Sure.
are very happy, with what they're doing. It just that wasn't for me after a period of time. So
sure, yeah. Some people it's not for them, and I don't think it would be for me. I mean, that's one of the reasons I did my own business. I was in big box retail for some years and understood it wasn't for me. So. Good for you for recognizing that it wasn't for you and, starting a family and all that stuff and changing your career, which brings us to insurance broker. You're very happy doing that. Why do you like doing it? What are the pluses of it?
You really get to know your clients and you really get to know people. So, in the insurance world and financial services world, which I'm in, I get to sit down and talk to people about their goals and what they like and how to reach those goals. Mm-hmm. So the relationships that I've built over the last 10 years and the progress you see that of what people can do with their finances is truly rewarding, actually. Yeah. So just the progress, right, of defining what those goals are and then watching them evolve and following the advice and reaching those goals has been extremely rewarding for me.
Awesome. So it sounds like you're kind of like me where you like helping people.
Absolutely.
And you like bettering their lives and
absolutely
in setting them up for retirement and in case something happens, right?
Absolutely. That's exactly right.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, I mean, that's what I like about doing this. I feel like and I think that's why you agreed to do this interview, is we like helping people and helping them figure out what they want to do with their life.
Absolutely, Steve. I mean, you got a big heart, and that's obviously showing. So.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. So is there any downside to your job? Is there a lot of hours, weird hours, a lot of driving something?
Not in that capacity. I just think that, anytime you start a business, there's always some growing pains.
Sure.
Right? There's a little bit of leap of faith. There's a little, extra work that needs to be put in, especially if you're starting from scratch. Mm-hmm. When I was on my job, I knew my job, I could do it in my sleep, right?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
and it took time to get to that point. But anytime you start a business or kind of, go off on your own, there's just some growing pains of how do I get customers? How do I get,
Sure.
how do I talk to the people that I know and care about?
Mm-hmm.
Once you get past that, it's actually it's kind of a funny thing. Initially, when you start, it seemed like for me, I was putting in more work than what I was getting paid, right? And then at some point in time, that starts to shift.
Sure.
And I don't have to work as hard to now get paid more.
Right.
Because now there's a flow of business, and now there's repeat customers, and then there's referrals coming from those customers, right?
Okay.
So that's the only challenge and I'm sure you would agree, when anytime
absolutely.
you start a business, there's always that's the worst part about it, is when you first start.
Right, because you got to build up your clientele.
You got to
and
build up your
base.
clientele and figure out what
Yeah.
marketing works for you, and just get your name out there.
Yeah.
I mean, once people understand what you do, then usually they know that you're sincere, then they'll come work with you.
Yeah.
In most cases.
So you would consider yourself an entrepreneur. You have a business space and
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yep.
so-
Have an office, have office staff. Yeah.
okay, cool. So I like to do a thing called the quick list. Like, what are like the 5 best things that you like about your position?
Ooh, the quick list. The 5 best things. Well, first of all, I like being in charge. I like being my own boss, so I can determine my own time.
Likes being a boss.
I like being my boss.
I understand that.
It's a lot easier to, get some time off when I want to have some time off.
Oh yeah. for sure.
Especially in the summer times when
yeah.
when my business kind of slows down actually a little bit. It allows me to travel more, take more advantage of long weekends with the family when the kids are off of school.
Yep.
I think with my business, there is no ceiling as far as income goes, right?
Okay.
I like being in control of that.
Yeah.
It can be scary because when you're in corporate America,
They pay you.
They pay you.
You're paying yourself.
Right. Exactly. But people, like, it's familiar. Like, if I know I'm getting paid $1,000 a week, I know that 1,000 will always be there.
Yeah.
Right. But it's capped at that 1,000, or it's capped at whatever I'm doing for that position. Right. A job pays a specific task. It doesn't necessarily pay the person, how good that person is.
Right.
I used to say, like, if a person that makes Subway sandwiches is only going to get paid X amount to do that, no matter how good that sandwich
No
maker
matter how
is.
fast he goes.
And no matter
That's
how
right.
fast, or if there's a celebrity can do it, and it will still only pay a certain amount.
Yeah.
What I like in my field is that I determine how much I can make depending upon the amount of work I put in.
Sure.
And the trade-off of time and money is very high in the insurance and financial services world. Like, one transaction can be worth, several weeks of pay in a normal job, if you will.
Oh wow.
That's what really
That I didn't know.
That's what really attracted me. Is
Ah,
that
all right.
is the fact that not only can I control my time more, which is extremely important, because that's something that once it's gone we can never get back, but
True.
the money aspect and the fact that like maybe $100,000 in most corporate America jobs would be considered pretty successfor.
Sure.
Whereas when you own your own business in certain fields, that barrier can easily be crossed.
So, what would you say the average salary is of an insurance broker, such as yourself?
Ooh, that's a great question. I know in the financial services world, I've read that 150, 160,000 is
Average.
is about average. I mean,
Nice.
I know several people that make way more than that.
Sure.
So, I mean, there really is no
No ceiling. Yeah.
ceiling. I mean, I can continue and I can hire people to work with me, and I can grow a team, and I can help people reach their goals that way too.
So, if there was like 1 or 2 things that you don't like about your position, what would those be?
Well, you're always at the, sometimes I do work different hours than most people. I'm not a traditional 9 to 5 job type
Right.
person. So even though there's a ton of flexibility with the time, I do work some evenings and some weekends too. When my clients are working, right? The only
Right.
time they can meet is when they're home or that. So
You have to be available when they're available.
I have to be available when they're available, and obviously, I believe in excellent customer service skills. So returning phone calls immediately is no matter what time is usually, important to me. you know, I mean, that's the main part of it. And then dealing with people. Anytime you deal with a large amount of people,
Yep.
even though it's good to get to know them, you also deal with a lot of different personalities and different things that make people, right?
Yep,
We
yep.
like to procrastinate. We maybe
There might be some frustration in there for
there
you.
could be a little frustration sometimes when a solution seems to make sense but doesn't make sense, and
Yep.
you know, so. But that's okay. I mean, that's what the field I've chosen to do, and you know, the pros definitely
Outweigh the cons.
by a very far margin.
Yeah.
So
It sounds like you really like your position. If you could recommend this position to anybody, would there be a certain set of people that you would recommend it to, or just anybody that thinks they could sell insurance?
it's really just anybody, Steve. You know, I didn't necessarily, when I made a job or go from working in corporate America to a business, this kind of fell in my lap. I really didn't even know that I was going to really get into insurance and financial services. Somebody gave me the opportunity to help to learn that business, and you know, so I kind of took the leap of faith, and I just knew though that I wanted something better and different than corporate America, to be my own boss.
Sure.
And so I don't ever try to pre-qualify or prejudge somebody based on, you know, appearance or based on age or based on any of that.
Gender,
because,
race, nothing. You just recommend this to everybody
Yeah.
that thinks they could
Right.
make a living off it.
Yeah, exactly. Because, you know, this is not sports where maybe talent is required. You
Sure.
know, this is all skills, and the great thing about skills is
They
it's
can
all
be learned,
it's
right?
all learnable, right? It's all teachable.
You can learn to sell. You can learn to be nice to people, even if you're not usually.
Right, right.
You can, but it's a skill.
Exactly. You know, and I know that, you know, some people are introverted. I know some people are kind of like don't think they can do it, right? I would just say, listen, you know, the biggest battle is between our ears, right? So if you can
Yeah, you're right about that.
have the mindset that I've always took the mindset, Steve, that outside of like sports and talent, that if somebody else can do it, why not me, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
the information's out there, right? With internet. I mean, back in the day when we were in school, we had to go to libraries and, you know, the old card system of looking up books on shelves,
Right,
right?
yeah.
Right? I mean, now, like literally, if you wanted to be a plumber or whatever, or my field, you can just Google what does it take to become
Yeah.
an insurance broker, and it will tell you everything you need to know. I mean,
There
you can
you
take
go.
online classes, you can work with a mentor like myself. And,
Absolutely.
Yeah, and that's what happened with me is somebody had brought me in the business, kind of showed me the ropes.
It's nice when you get somebody to help you, so you're not
Yeah.
a deer in the headlights.
Like,
right?
yeah, exactly. And, you know, somebody else paved the road for me by telling me what to avoid. You know, the potholes in the road and the construction in the road, right?
Right, right.
Doesn't mean I won't make mistakes. It just means that now
Might be a little smoother for you.
a little smoother and more efficient.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
I mean, and
Yeah.
I think you would agree that in any business today, as long as somebody had the minds, you know, the motivation
Yeah.
and the heart to do it, then that's what determines success more than anything else.
Oh, I agree. Absolutely, yeah. If you're determined, like, I'm determined to make this work and help people. That's
Yeah.
why I'm doing Life Uncovered. So,
Right.
you know, and hey, I tell you what, we really appreciate you coming on the show, Jeff.
Oh,
It's
been my
really
pleasure.
great having
Thank you so much.
Yeah. And if you like the video, subscribe. We're going to do one to two every week. Our next one is going to be with cosmetology with Sarah. And we thank you for watching. You guys have a great day. We'll see you next time.